Alrighty then. So, as promised, here we have a TOK sample presentation. So, um, this is going to take a slightly different form. So, as you guys well know, I do enjoy my talking. So, this is going to come in two, at least, maybe three parts because, yeah. So, um, let us begin. Alrighty, so this is pretty straightforward. We only have a couple of learning outcomes here. So and by a couple I mean one. So basically, the purpose of this is to help you understand the components of the TOK presentation. So this is going to be, so the first portion, the first part, is really just looking at the marking and what you kind of need to do in order to pull together your TOK presentation. So this is going to be really quite a bit about you um, assessing, using this to help assess your presentation and kind of have a good idea of what you want to do going into it, right? All right. And so, yeah, I think that's it for this point, right? All right. So here we're looking at the whole marking system, right? So it says how basically the global impression is supposed to happen because this marking is happening as you are speaking, right? So all of the things that are being considered. This is then, and the rubric, it says to refer to page 64 for the assessment instrument. That's page 64 in your TOK guide. It's also in our file folder, just the assessment, and also at the end of this presentation. And I've given you a physical copy. So really, really, really take a look through the rubric beforehand, just to help assess where you're going, right? So the examiner, or me, is looking to see whether or not you succeed in showing how the TOK tools, the TOK ideas can be applied in the real world. And that is basically it. All right. So you need to have the TOK tools, the various ideas we've come across, and then you need to clearly connect them to the real life situation. And so going clockwise from the red box. So basically, we want to see, is there a clear real life situation? So don't pick like a topic or an idea. Refer to a video clip, refer to an advertisement, refer to a newspaper article. So don't say, oh yeah, this thing happened. No, you need to find an actual physical manifestation of this idea or this event, right? And have you clearly described the real life situation and how it is going to form the starting off for this presentation, right? Because especially for the presentation in a real way, the real life situation kind of shapes what you're going to talk about, right? So moving to the green box, what we're looking at is has have you clearly extracted knowledge claims from this real life situation and developed a knowledge question. That's one of the reasons why you briefly present the knowledge claims and you briefly discuss how those knowledge claims led you to create this knowledge question. We don't want to see a knowledge question which seems to hover the rest of your presentation, which we can't see what the connection is. And have you explored, moving on, have you explored different perspectives that connect to the knowledge question? And so we want you to see, we want arguments, counter arguments. We want different aspects of so if you're using language, so we want to see different aspects of the TOK tools relating to language used, right? And deployed examples and arguments in the service of the exploration. So yeah, so this is when you can bring in some of your personal experience in there. when you just sort of explore. So don't just say, oh yeah, there's language involved here because blah, 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 blah. But you can say something like, according to the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, blah, 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 blah. All right? And then finally, have you related the findings and insights of your TOK exploration? So essentially, real life situation, knowledge claims, knowledge question. Then you use the TOK tools to explore the knowledge question. Then you apply it back to the real life situation from the red box. And then what you also do is incorporate other real life situations in there. Real life situations that don't necessarily directly connect to your initial real life situation. So what you're attempting to show is the applicability of these ideas, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that it applies only to this narrow brand of situations. All right, so I'm repeating myself, but in a different way. So the key focus is to show how the TOK concept, so make sure you use terms. So don't just randomly start to, or maybe not randomly, but don't just say stuff that blah, 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 blah. But we definitely want to see the TOK terms in here used appropriately. All right. So don't just, and the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, and then you move on. You need to kind of explain not just the hypothesis. It's best to not really explain the hypothesis like you're running through a dictionary, but to apply it, all right? Apply it in a way that makes sense and is relevant. Okay, so you have to do a presentation and an essay right now. And so basically this slide is just helping you differentiate between the two, and to make sure that you're not you're not crossing over between the two and creating some sort of confusion for yourself. So obviously there is no question here, no prescribed title. So that means that it's coming from you. So this is an opportunity to kind of bring in your own interests in there and to explore it using TOK. So you need to do these 4 things. Real life situation, I can't stress that enough, as a foundation of your exploration. So the real life situation is a foundation that you're going to build everything else off of. So make sure that you find one that you are interested in, but at the same time, realize that this presentation isn't about you talking whether you agree about this real life situation, but rather kind of in a way exploring and possibly how the knowledge is constructed in this real life situation, but also and this is where you can bring in your own personal experiences in there, how using the TOK tools actually makes you look at things in a different light, potentially. Generate an explicit knowledge question to focus the presentation on. We've talked about this. Develop this knowledge question by exploring the multiple issues or questions that arise from it. So this is where you connect your ways of knowing, and if you feel comfortable, areas of knowledge. And then you explore the applications and implications of your knowledge question and the associated questions to other real life situations. So you can have one knowledge question, and from it, other ideas develop, and you can apply these various things. And one of the really cool things about TOK, and I know you're tired of me talking about really cool things, but I get excited about, random stuff, right? So one of the really cool things is how, kind of like these sort of rabbit holes, Alice in Wonderland reference, that it can take you to, which is, it's all kind of really about your way of thinking and your interests in many ways, right? So you want to have presentation notes. So this slide is really just to help you some tips on the actual presentation. So prepare presentation notes. Please, 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 please. Don't do it from the top of your head. Because what happens is you will wind up missing a lot of the stuff that you intended to say. So you can have the notes in written form. I recommend, because you guys are like all millennials and like children of the digital age, it's perfectly cool to have a set of notes on your phone, and you look at this as you present, kind of like, or you can have note cards, basically just to help you formulate your ideas and make sure you're keeping on task. Um, so structure it. This is kind of like when you're writing your essay, you want to make sure that your presentation is structured. I had to have a sip of water, my throat's kind of dry. So that it makes sense. You want to have a presentation that is clear and makes sense, not like, all right? So, thesis, your development, your evidence, fallacy and analysis, all right? So you have your thesis, and you kind of have your exploration by what you mean by this, the evidence. So whether it's a personal experience, whether you're referring back to the real life situation. And then basically, when they mean by balance here, maybe you can present some sort of counter argument. And that's when you also incorporate your TOK tools in here, right? Do not read the notes. I had to make that not really loud. Do not read through the notes. All right. You need to be making eye contact with your audience. You are talking to the audience, not to your phone or to your notes. All right. Makes a very big difference. Obviously, my eyes may not be on you quite so much because I'm going to be typing away as you do your presentation. All right. But I'm listening. You can look at me if you feel that, or the top of my head, if you feel that it'll help. And right, so writing is to help you organize your thoughts and prepare a structured approach to the presentation. Practice your presentation before doing it. You guys, I know it is incredibly difficult to get up there and talk in front of people. So don't feel that I'm judging you. I applaud your ability to go and do this. So try to be relaxed. I'm not thinking badly of you. I'm thinking it's really awesome that you're able to do this and have this stuff in your head and put your ideas and yourself out there like that. So just kind of take a deep breath, think happy thoughts. Really how awesome Miss Michelle is. I know. That is total happiness. And just get up there and do the best you can, right? So I'm not judging whether you stumble over words. So if you mispronounce stuff, it's okay. But I'm really looking for your ideas. So just make sure your ideas are organized. And any mistakes you make in speaking are not going to be really detrimental. All right. I also recommend you really look at your presentation to make sure that it flows in the way that you want it to. Add some visuals in there that illustrate what you're saying, things like this. And then so finally, we go to the assessment instrument. I know you guys are all going to be working here for levels 4 and 5. Very good to excellent. So basically, we want a focused knowledge question, a presentation that is focused on a knowledge question, and it is well connected to the real life situation. So this is about how well you present your thought processes to getting to your knowledge question. And the knowledge question explored in the context of the real life situation. So as you're bringing in your TOK tools, you're making reference back to the real life situation. And you have clear arguments, so not vague, not like, oh yeah, so I thought about maybe how language affects how we think. No, make it very, very specific, right? So clear arguments about what you are considering, and you have different perspectives in there. So you have counter arguments. And basically you are going to reach a conclusion. All right. You have to reach a conclusion, and then you take this conclusion and you kind of re-examine you apply it to your real life situation again. So don't just dangle it out there. In order to move to that very good and excellent level, so once you get to your conclusion, don't dangle it out there, but bring it back to the real life situation. All right, and look at the possible characteristics. It's coherent. It's pertinent. That is relevant to what you're talking about. It's organized. Please make sure you organize your thoughts. It's analytical. That is, you're analyzing, not just describing stuff, but actually analyzing, applying your TK tools. And it's credible, it's believable. Even if I don't agree with what you're saying, I don't have to. And you're not trying to convince me in that way. But what you are saying is that what you've presented is logical, so that I see, you've reached valid conclusions. All right. And to move up to that excellent, sophisticated, discerning, insightful, compelling, and lucid. So clear again, right? Compelling, it's convincing. All right. So I hope that helps. It went on a little longer than I expected because, that's how I roll. So await for the next one or ones.